So you were saying you have pets.
Yeah.
What pets do you have?
I haven't had pets, like loads of them.
Okay.
So I'll start off with what I have. So, so I have 2 dogs. So the first one is Dobby, and he's 10.
Dobby or Dobby?
Dobby, like
Dobby.
from Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter, okay.
The elf, because he collects socks, basically. He collects our dirty
That's
socks
so
and
funny.
almost makes a bed out of them. That's why he got the name Dobby.
Cool.
Then we have Bella, and she's 3.
Aw.
And then I have a guinea pig. Her name is Maple. She's 5.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, and then Maple had a sister who died when I was in Rent
Aw.
Youth Day.
Aw.
Yeah, pretty sad. So she was 5 as well. I also kept 2 hamsters, and I had quails as well.
You had quails.
Yeah.
How do you keep quails in your house?
They weren't in my house. No.
Okay.
They were in my shed.
Okay,
So,
cool.
I had a good few of them. Like, I used to rescue a few of them. I used to
Cool.
hatch a few of them as well. This was with my dad, so that was our little hobby. But we don't
Cool.
have them anymore now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I think I've had a pet goldfish, maybe 2 or 3.
Right.
That's about it.
Right.
Not being a big pet
And they're a
family.
big commitment, I have to say.
They are a big commitment. Yeah.
Well,
Growing up, I always wanted a pet, but my mom didn't.
Yeah.
And my dad kind of just followed my mom. So, yeah, cool. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been obviously you're again one of Maria's friends.
Yes.
So if you could tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, where you come from.
Yeah, so my name is Diana. I'm 18 years old. My parents are from India, but I was born and raised in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So I am half Irish in that sense. Not biologically, but I still call myself that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been born and raised in Dublin. I'm the youngest of 3 girls, so I have 2 older sisters. And I love Christ.
Cool,
Yeah.
nice. And were you someone that was brought up in the faith, or were you
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, I was raised up as a cradle Catholic, basically. Went to Mass every Sunday, and did family prayer, evening prayer, prayed the rosary in the car whenever we're going on trips, and so on. So I've been raised Catholic ever since the beginning, and I also used to attend catechesis classes, so
Okay.
Sunday school classes, that were run by the Syro-Malabar Church.
Right, okay.
So that I used to do when I was
Okay.
much younger, but yeah.
I don't know much about the Syro-Malabar Church, apart from the fact that I know it's like a branch of
It's a rite. So
It's a
there are
rite,
24 rites, I think, of the Catholic Church. Basically traditions that all together form the Universal Church,
yeah.
the Catholic Church.
And where did they originate?
So I think Syria, I don't know too much now, but they definitely have links with Syria, hence Syro. And then Malabar is the coast of Kerala, so the south of India where I'm from. So basically St. Thomas brought the faiths to India. He proclaimed the gospel in India, so hence he's a big part of this. But yeah, it's basically the traditions involved. Like, we follow the 7 sacraments. We celebrate the Eucharist, everything that the Universal Church does, because as I said, it's all these traditions that together form the Catholic Church. So we're nothing different compared to the usual churches, if anybody's wondering. We're not a separate church or entity or anything like that.
What are the small differences though between what would distinguish that rite from maybe some of the rites that we're more used to?
It's a good question. I have to think. We could take, for example, priest vestments, quite different compared to the vestments that priests wear in the Latin Rite, for example. So you know that the priests wear purple for Lent and Advent, right? And then green for ordinary time, and then white for solemnities. But in Syro-Malabar, as far as I remember, it's mainly the same vestment, very elaborate, very ornate, with different symbols and so on. It's usually the same one. I don't know if it changes. It might change for certain feast days and so on. But,
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But basically we have the whole, how it all ties back in, and it's basically my family and I attend Syro-Malabar Mass. Usually happens on a 4th Sunday of the month in our parish. Well, 2nd and 4th now. So we used to attend that and still attend that now, and we used to do catechesis classes, so Sunday school classes for the kids from senior infants until 4th year or 5th year. So yeah, and my dad was a teacher, and my sisters also became teachers, so they kind of influenced me in that way. And now I'm a teacher.
That's so cool. I was going to ask, because are you in college?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're studying is there a specific type of teaching, or?
So it's a Bachelor of Education in Gaeilge and Garmanish, so Irish and German.
Cool.
So and I'm in my second year, and I'm really enjoying the course. Cool. I have to say, I just finished my placement yesterday, so I had a 4-week online placement, and it was
an online placement.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So it's basically where I think it's kind of to help, like, with in case a pandemic came. That's probably one side of it, but I think it's mainly...
Has that been in place since the pandemic, or has that been in place before that as well?
I think, the course is pretty new. Like, I think it's only been here for like 4 or 5 years. Okay. Like the first set of graduates graduated just in these past few months. Okay. But it's basically to help with, having asynchronous lessons and things like that, to bring more diversity into the lessons and so on. Not just limited to pen and paper, that students can use technology to learn further and to aid in their own learning journey.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what led you to teaching? Why did you pick teaching?
So, good question. So I actually wanted to do veterinary medicine at the start.
Okay.
Because of all the vets I said, and I absolutely love animals. So I really wanted to do veterinary medicine ever since I was a little kid, and that was always the aim, but the points are really, really high. And so I was aiming for that, did my veterinary experience like in a clinic, and I also helped give birth to a calf and things like that as part of my experience. Yeah, it was really fun, but I was so focused on it, and then I didn't get it. Like, I got really good marks in my leaving cert, but I didn't quite get the marks for veterinary. But I really love languages at the same time. I had a really good German teacher, and then one of my friends who's helping me with Irish, she showed me the true beauty of the Irish language that I didn't see when I was in school, like, because it's so focused on exams and so on. But I just got to know more of the culture and stuff. And then I was like, you know what, why don't I do this course and show other students the beauty of Irish and German and how they can use the languages beyond school.
Okay.
So,
cool. I think as well, teaching is such a especially for Catholics and people that are Christian, is such an attractive career, because it's so easy to place or like to see where like evangelism would have a place in that sort of type of environment, because you're constantly working with the same people for a prolonged period of time, so you're interacting with them every day, so like you're playing a pretty big impact in their life, so like, was that how do you find fitting in your faith with I suppose obviously you've probably only been on placement a few times, but even just like in college, and how has that experience been trying to fit in your faith with like what you do?
So to try and show the faith to others as well.
And do you think that it's possible with sort of what you're doing in teaching?
So actually, when I was in school, I had this religion teacher from 1st to 6th year, and he was like so into his faith, and he showed that in every single class he came into, and he was really inspiring. So he's actually probably one of the reasons why I want to become a teacher as well. Not just because he was a religion teacher that he showed his faith, but just the way he lived. And I think that's what's really important as well. You may not be a religion teacher, or you may not be a teacher who's, I don't know, doing anything with faith, but it's about the way that you live that affects the student's life. And even in college as well, the kindness that you show to people. You may not exactly always be physically proclaiming the gospel to people, but it's about those little things about how you live your life. It's one that really, really matters.
100%. And just being a living example of the gospel is just such a exactly. That's really cool. And so actually I kind of want to go back to how you came into your faith, because you said you were brought up in a very faithful family. But was there maybe a moment that things sort of started to change for you, in the sense that you started taking the faith a bit more seriously?
So I've always, I hate to break it to you, but I've always kind of
taken my faith seriously. That's fair.
Just because I've been so involved with my parish ever since I was a little girl. So like when I was little, probably 5 or 6, I was in the children's choir. Then I started doing altar serving, and I'm still doing that to this age. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. It's like that I've been helping out my parish a lot, and just the community that I've built with parishioners and the priests, and they're all great friends of mine, honestly. And so they've really helped me. They've been living examples of saints, really, for me. So that's how I kind of kept going on with my faith. But yeah, I was kind of, it's not lukewarm, but I was kind of like, I believed in God, but I wasn't too formed in my faith. But it was probably when I went into first year that I started of secondary school that I started to take things a little bit more seriously, started to go to adoration a little bit more, and then confession played a big part in my life. I started to go to confession more regularly, and then was able to see the mercy and love that flows from Christ through the priests, and it's just amazing, honestly. And ever since then, I just want to go to confession more and more frequently. But yeah, I mean, we all have those times where, you know, we're a bit dry in our faith and so on. But I don't think there's... Oh, actually, there is one time. So basically, I was at a... Where was I? It was at a retreat that was being run by Jesus Youth, which is a movement that I'm part of. And we were having adoration. And I'd just been to confession. That confession was really, really powerful. And I went to the adoration, and I just felt this immense joy, like in my face, just immense love flow through me. And same thing happened, I think 2 years ago during Easter, when the Eucharist was reposed. I think it was a Good Friday? No, it was Monday, Thursday. No, it was Good Friday, probably. It's just been those times that the Lord has just spoken to me without even saying anything, but you just feel that the Lord has come to you. So yeah, those are a few experiences.
Cool, yeah. It's interesting when you said when the Lord was reposed, because I think a lot of experiences with the Eucharist are like, you know, you're sitting in front of the Eucharist, and it's just that experience of finally being able to comprehend what the Eucharist actually is, and that's what fills you with all that joy and all that. You're just in awe of what you see. But I feel like, and I don't know if you could relate to this, but I've had a few experiences recently where it's like the most powerful moments of some of my times recently in adoration have been when Jesus is being reposed, because it's like, I don't know, it's almost like I feel a sense of sadness that like, oh wow, like I spent the entire like 40 minutes trying to comprehend who I'm looking at, and now Jesus is being reposed. Which I just think, it's just interesting that you said like the repose was one of the moments. That's cool. And could you actually explain a bit more about Jesus Youth? Because we actually had for some of our listeners who have been listening or watching some of the videos, we had Jaslyn on a couple of months ago now.
Jaslyn's a good friend of mine, yes.
Cool, and she shared a bit about Jesus Youth. But could you like refresh us a bit on what Jesus Youth is?
Yeah, sure.
And like what their ministry and mission is?
Yeah, so basically I've helped out at a few things with Jesus Youth, and I've attended a few of their retreats, but it's basically an international Catholic movement, so it's not just in Ireland, it's in all different parts of the world. So I can think of a few examples. We have different retreats that come, like recently, I can think of the most recent one.
There was one in UCD.
Yes, that's what it is.
I couldn't make it out to it, but it was Joyfest.
Yes.
Yeah. It was
actually great. Like there was quite a few people,
and there was Paul J. Kim was speaking at it.
Yes,
he is amazing.
He was so good. He was actually so good.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries.
Yeah,
trying to. Yeah. So okay. So we actually have a few different things that they organize. So for college students and those who are basically single, working, they have a prayer group called Sanctum that happens in Blessed Sacrament Chapel every Wednesday. And they have different core teams and different, family meetings and things like that. But I actually went with Jesus Youth for World Youth Day. And there were so many people from Jesus Youth who came from all around the world for World Youth Day. It was actually quite amazing to see the sheer amount. Like I think there was about 100 people from Ireland itself, which was quite amazing.
I think Jesus Youth is one, like, when I think of Jesus Youth, I feel like it's one of the only ministries that caters for like every single age group.
Yeah.
Because like there's formation for people from literally like from a very young age to like when you are just someone who's like, you know, a part of a family. So yeah, what's kind of, how have you seen, like, were you a part of Jesus Youth when you were younger, and then you kind of kept staying in there until you were, until now?
Yeah, so basically I've seen my sisters are they're 10 years older than me, and so I've seen them go to a lot of Jesus Youth stuff, and they're quite, especially my oldest sister, really involved. Her and her husband really involved in Jesus Youth. And so with that, I've always kind of been under their shadow and kind of gone to different prayer meetings and prayer groups that they were part of. And so, yeah.
Cool. I want to come back to World Youth Day, but before that, you said that you mentioned earlier that you were in the St. Dominic Society.
Yes. Yeah.
What's been your experience with the St. Dominic Society? How did you get involved? How are you involved now?
Yeah. So, funny story with the St. Dominic Society. So I didn't know that it existed until I actually became a student at DCU. The only Catholic society before I started college that I was familiar with was the one in DC, or in UCD, not DC, UCD. And what's funny was, so Maria, the person who brought me here to Radio Maria today, we went to the same secondary school, and we started a prayer group together in secondary school.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we named that St. Dominic's Prayer Group. And so now I'm part of the St. Dominic's Catholic Society. It's almost like a continuation. Like the Dominicans are following me everywhere, honestly. But yeah, I'm on the committee for St. Dominic's now this year. I'm the secretary for St. Dominic's. So I'm really enjoying it. Great society. We have a great turnout of people every week. And everyone's just so lovely. And it's been, we just finished up for the semester just a few days ago. So and
what are some of the events that you guys would do? Is there like a weekly event, or?
Yes, we have our meetings every Monday. So we've done like Bible studies, we've done catechesis studies. We've also just done like fun stuff like going bowling or out for a meal. We've had a few times of adoration as well, and times of mass. So that's
cool. That's really good. I wanted to ask actually, what was the reaction like from people when you set up that prayer group in school? As in, like, what was the reaction? As in, did you get any? Yeah, did you
people to come in?
Yeah, did you get people to come in? But also, like, did you face any like hostility?
So when did we start it? So we started it because me and Maria got to know each other in sixth year. So Christmas of sixth year. So shortly after that, we started it. So we only had a few months before we finished secondary school. But we set it up with my religion teacher, and it was good at the start. We had like maybe 3 or 4 people at the start, and it slowly went up to 6 or so people. And I think it's still continuing now. Like
I was going to ask, is it
I think it's still it started in the new academic year. So my religion teacher and another teacher started it again, and it was great. Like we just mainly what we did was we did prayer, and we did a few talks about the different places that Our Lady has appeared, and mainly prayer, and then those little talks, and then we'd have a few little relics as well. A few little relics. One of the teachers had a few little relics of some saints, so we got to see those relics as well. So it was lovely. We only did it for a few weeks that time, but we're so glad that we still did it, because it's through these little actions or these little things that you do that it can affect someone later on, you know, even people who are not in their faith. It's these memories that they have, like from their growing years, and then they reflect on it later and be like, oh yeah, you know, actually I did that, and it might be good to come back to the faith.
That's really cool. I think one of the big problems is sometimes that people start these great things, but there's no one there to follow it up. So it's brilliant to hear that there is still continuing as well. So that's going to continually make an impact, as you said, on people's lives. That's really cool. And then another thing I want to touch on was, you said you went to World Youth Day. What was that experience? Was that your first time at a World Youth Day?
Yes,
okay. And what was that like?
I did like it. I mean, I liked it to an extent, but I was also I really liked just seeing the different cultures all coming together, and just the different traditions, and praising God through music and masses. And I remember even the vigil, the adoration, the vigil before the main papal mass. Yeah, on the last day.
Yeah.
Second last day.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember. That was really powerful and really beautiful. And the only thing was it was too warm. I couldn't.
That's fair.
I couldn't handle the heat.
That's fair.
I just couldn't. So that really kind of ruined my experience. And a lot of walking.
Yeah.
A lot of walking. But I guess that's what makes it a pilgrimage, right?
For sure. Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the same for us. It was the heat sometimes was just, and the thing is as well, I think it was the 2 days that required the most walking were the 2 days that were the hottest days of the week as well.
I think it was like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Yeah, it was so hot.
But like you said, I think the vigil was really cool. But I think just the experience of, and maybe some people, this has been my experience from talking to people, didn't necessarily like some of the events that were on each night, just because it was hard to concentrate, it was hard to see like whoever was giving the talk, or it was hard to like fully participate in mass because there were so many people there. But just that experience of seeing that many people there at once, for me was just incredible. And it's not just like a crowd of people there, just it's not like it was just a crowd of random people. It was a crowd of Catholics all gathered in one place to see that, and to just to see it firsthand was so cool. It
really was amazing. Like when we're just walking up just to go to the different zones that we were meant to camp for the night, as you said, it was just amazing to see that many people. Like it felt like a whole country of people, to be honest. But it was definitely amazing. And like despite the struggles that we had to go through, like now I don't know if I go to World Youth Day again. I don't know. Okay. Depends on where is the next one? South Korea, right? If it's too warm, don't know.
That's fair.
I think it's the weather that kind of made the experience a little bit harder, but I would definitely do it again, just to see everyone again, just to
I think there's definitely a good few factors that play into what would make it a good trip. The weather for a lot is definitely one. I think also having a good group, and I don't just mean a group that like all your friends are in, but like a group where you're able to obviously have a good time with people that are like-minded, and you're a group where you're going to be able to go in and form friendships, but also a group that is able to integrate prayer and the sacraments throughout the week, because I think that is so necessary when you're attending an event that big, is to be constantly reminded that, okay, hold on a minute, there's so many different people here from so many different countries, and it's really overwhelming, but like you're all gathered here for one purpose, and so kind of just nailing in that this is the primary reason we're here for. I think is so important. So I think having a priest along with you, I think, is a huge thing that needs to be done with each group, because I think I don't know what it's going to be like in Korea, but I know in Portugal it was really hard to find mass, so having a priest with you just allows you to celebrate mass. When we
were blessed with, there were so many priests, as they were priests from Ireland, but different parts, even the UK and stuff. So we had like loads of priests from mass, and so thankfully we had that. So that was amazing.
That's so cool. And then just a group, I think, that will somehow integrate prayer into your day, because as you probably know, the whole schedule for the entire week was so jam-packed. And it's hard to see where prayer actually fits into it, and even though prayer is meant to be like the one thing you're kind of there for. So a group, I think, that integrates prayer well, a group that is obviously a good group so we can form friendships and have a good time. Also a group I think needs a priest. So that's really cool. My experience with World Youth Day was really cool. I think the weather was definitely it wasn't great for me either, but I just think I think I'll put it out there to listeners that if you ever get the chance to go, I would highly recommend going.
Definitely.
The next one is in Korea. There's also going to be like a mini sort of gathering. I think it's the Jubilee year. That doesn't sound right.
Could be.
I don't think I think it's the Silver Jubilee year.
Okay.
And that'll be taking place in Rome. So if you're around 2025, you can go along to that as well. So any final things you would like to say?
I just like to quickly say something about music when it's played part of my life. So when I was little, I started doing like lessons for piano and guitar and stuff like that. And then when I went to secondary school, I was like, okay, Jenny, you have to put a complete stop on all of this. Focus on your studies. And that's it. And then over time, I felt that the Lord was calling me to slowly use this gift of music that he gave to me. So I love singing and I love playing instruments. And he was like, no, I think, Danny, you should use this for God's greater glory. So I recently started playing for Mass in DCU actually, and then so playing piano and singing, and then playing the organ and singing in my own parish. And I think it's really brought a lot of people back to their faith as well, I feel.
Great.
Well, just adding to the Mass.
You're saying music just in general? Yeah.
It's music, like hymns and so on for Mass and so on. So music's also played a great part in my life, and definitely because as St. Augustine says, right, singing is praying twice, right? So music has definitely played a big part in my own life, and helping others come back to God slowly as well.
Brilliant. That's great.
That's a little soft too.
That's brilliant. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Show.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got a good few ideas, a good few things in the works for Encounter over the next few weeks. So do stay tuned. If you would like to get in contact with us, either to give us some feedback. We've got a lot of lights, a lot of cameras, a lot of different things in the room. So if you're someone that's like a tech expert and you want to give us advice on what we can be doing better in terms of the equipment we use or in terms of our setup, camera angles, etc., get in contact with us. You can call us at 014 123 456. You can text or WhatsApp us at 089 467 2000. Or you can email us at Radio Maria at info@radiomaria.ie. So yeah, do get in contact with us. Also, if you want to come on the show, get in contact with us. We'd love to have you guys on. And yeah, from myself and Diana, until next week, take care and God bless.
Bye.